eyebrow raising. There's a thing about reincarnation, about people coming into their newer lives or iterations with scars or imprints of the previous lifetime. And it's got me thinking, I think you have many lifetimes per lifetime. Like, if you're an advanced soul, like, you've done this a lot, bitch. Like, you're getting close to the thousands. Because it fits in the framework of how duality and how learning and just general premises that I feel in life. The longer you live, it's like that Batman quote. The longer you live, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain of the story. Because I would feel that the longer you live, the more you see how your actions have a repercussion and reverberate through time and history. So you would eventually become a better and better person, a more compassionate, more empathetic, a more understanding person, because you live that life. You understand the motivations. You understand why people did what they did. And why are you doing things different? You just know more. Can't really help it. You can't unlearn what you learn. Because that's something I feel like in this lifetime, I can't unlearn what I know. And if I had lived many lifetimes learning so many different lessons, I can't unlearn some of my mistakes. And I can't unlearn knowing what happens if I do that and how it affects people for this time throughout history. And I think that's the general premise of my understanding of how the world works. So, do you see physical remnants of people throughout history in their reincarnates? And that's an interesting fact because I know how biology works. I know how all this stuff works. And I think physically, you would not be like a dead ass ringer for them. But I think that there would be subtle nods and like winks that these people would have very similar characteristics throughout time and history. So let's test that premise out and let us use AI to imagine things that we cannot and then see if those things line up. And like I said, if this is a podcast episode, it's me walking you through how I'm approaching things and the observations I've made along the way as we come into a more deliberate kind of understanding of what we're learning and decide whether or not this is exactly what we think or not. It's been interesting so far. One thing that has stood out to me between Madame Pompadour, King Louis, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, me, and my counterpart, we're just going to give her a name right now. Okay, her name's going to be B, like Bay, because saying twin flame over and over just makes me feel so cringe. I may support and I may understand these ideas, but I do not support the way that they are named. Okay, I don't want to sound like a goddamn Taylor Swift song every time I make these videos. I've talked about a lot of my videos is the fact that my eyebrow won't go down because I'm so goddamn skeptical in this lifetime that things are just making it go up. And what I've noticed is the things that stand out to me with King Louis XV's portraits are his eyebrows. The man's got some very distinctive eyebrows and very distinctive sad eyes. Sad eyes that I could immediately be like, yeah, that's my ass right there. Look how sad he is. So to me, when I look at these people and I read their descriptions, I get a vibe check, and the vibe, I read the vibe. The vibe seems that, yeah, I get it. That could be me. Here's the interesting part. I'm getting close to actually start making these videos. I have the intro already done. To make sure that my analysis has been accurate, I've done it from the opposite end. When I found these historical figures, I didn't read into their personal histories to bias myself. I didn't do the thing that most people do because I didn't want to make a video full of, oh yeah, we're so same like that because I did that, he did that, I did that, he did that. I wanted to find the astrological markers first. So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 months. I found all the astrological markers and all indications that drew a picture and created a story because I'm just reading where the signs tell me and then connecting the dots to fill in the blanks. But what has happened has been a really comprehensive portrait has been created of 3 lifetimes of people just not getting that fucking lesson right. So it's been extremely intriguing for me to see that. And then after that, I've gone through and now in the latter stages, as I'm getting closer to make the video, I'm trying to read up on their biographies so that I can fill in the dots of where these overarching patterns in the stars lined up with these patterns that were documented in the way that their lives ran. I even have asked different AIs, why? This makes no fucking sense to me. Why would I have been all these people? And it seems like in this lifetime, it was important for this version of me to find versions of me throughout history. Because like I said, I think we've lived thousands of lives, like at least hundreds at this point. Probably a lot that will never ever be known to us until we pass, but it seems that we've all been history people at one point. But this was the lifetime that I was supposed to pick up on the threads that were telling us we were people, and like hone in on which people we were. Because it's if we've been like hundreds of thousands of people, it's notable that in this lifetime, I'm only picking up on the ones that had fucked up relationships. That was truly altering and transformative. That's not for nothing, I think. So that's what I've been doing. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking at pictures of them more and more. And I am, when I see my ex, and I see Madame Pompadour, and I see Lucille Ball, I see her. Like, I can literally see her. I'm like, well, there she is. When I read up about their little histories and their upbringings and the person that became, I can see how that energy has manifested into the person that I know now. When I was looking at the astrological markers, I could definitely see how those combination of signs became that next combination of signs that resulted in this combination of signs. In the current iteration, B, she is a combination of not just Madame Pompadour and Lucille Ball, but also aspects of the other men, of King Louis and Desi Arnaz, to reflect back to me the things that I need to learn in this lifetime, evidently. And when I look at the men, I see parts of myself, probably the parts of myself that I'm not a fan of. Within those versions of the men, I see parts of myself that I am understanding are me. I see the person I used to be. I see the person I could have been. I see the parts of myself that I don't tell people about. And that's what resonates. That's how I knew those are me. And in the women, I see the parts of myself that I meant to reflect back to my ex, to show her the person that she was, that I thought were parts of me, but were just actually reflections of her. Because if anything, this astrology has taught me is that we are all reflections of each other, shining a light on areas that we would like to incorporate, we don't have, we want to have, or that are us that we have not been very good at looking at. That's part of what has made identifying who is who very difficult, and which is why I did not look at the personalities and I did not look at the trajectories, because those would seem to have like biased my influence more than I would be using the astrological signs to prove I'm that person. So it went the opposite, that because I could not see who is who and the possibility of us reflecting each other, I went through looking at the astrological markers before and then drawing a picture from that. And that's the approach that I've taken. But what resonated the most, probably now that I'm looking at it, even before, was that the worst parts of the men, or just their general attitudes. In Desi Arnaz, there's a very like unpredictable kind of impulsive attitude, and he was bougie as fuck, and he like didn't really care about spending and stuff. And I live in that sometimes. With King Louis, there was like this naivete, like this genuineness, but also this really sad loneliness that I could just identify. The thing I think was the most telling was their sexual relationship ended between him and Madame Pompadour. And the way I summarized it, King Louis was still like, could we still be my friend? I'd be cool if you just want to be my friend. And that desperation is something that I resonate with, because I understand how lonely it is. And I don't see that with B. I don't see her responding like that. I do see a lot of the positive aspects of Madame Pompadour and Lucille Ball in the energy and the reflection of what I had with B. And I earnestly feel like in this lifetime, what I gave back, what I was trying to reflect back of what I've received in previous lifetimes, was the first time I've ever done it, because it feels so noteworthy to me. Like, I feel like, did you see that? Did you see I did it? I did the things. And I don't think that happens when you've done the things before. If you've done the things before, you just kind of have an inner, oh yeah, I've done the things. I did a damn thing. It's not my first fucking rodeo. But when it's your first fucking rodeo, you're like, I rode that bull, bitch. It was hard. And because I'm giving that energy, it to me signifies more that I'm reflecting back to her what she has throughout history. And that's a hard pill to fucking swallow. Like, you're like, damn, ooh, that's hard to swallow. Give me more water. And that's where we're at. And I thought I'd like to share some of that. and show you some of the pictures that I used with AI. I've been using AI to kind of draw a picture back. First, I don't know what's up with French artists of the fucking times, but like everyone looks like a round little baby. They look like a little chubby, cupid little baby right there. And I'm like, that's not helping me figure out what they fucking look like. And you could look at several portraits of the same fucking man, like King Louis XV, and I'm like, well, which one is he? I've taken like an assessment in my head. Some of them have him very masculine, stern looking. Most of them have him like this, like real, like he's got like a weird fucking face. Like he's got like these brows that really point out to me, and then kind of like a hmm. But in it all, I see a kindness that was trying to be depicted through the paintings. I see, I see them trying to make a strong man, but like the man inside really coming out being like, I'm just a baby. I'm like, I'm kind of real soft. But then there's accounts of him being like super handsome and like obviously, I'm not gonna lie, that makes me feel better. I'm like, well, at least he was handsome. And so I asked web browser ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, they say he's handsome. What does that entail? Like, what does that like mean handsome in today's definition of like what we think of handsome? Like, or like, I don't know how fucked up like their fucking aesthetics were back then. But I don't think handsome really ever fades. But handsome is still like attributed to being masculine, being like strong looking. So then I asked ChatGPT, I said, can you give me a list of actors who, not on acting ability, but just on the fact like looks, would be like a dead ass ringer for that man? And I asked for the same thing for Madame Pompadour. And what I got was a pretty good list, actually. The one that struck out to me the most for Madame Pompadour was Natalie Portman, which I thought dead ass ringer. Like I could see it, like reading about Madame Pompadour and stuff. She articulates and captures that energy. And then thinking about my ex, who has very beautiful angular features, dead ass fucking ringer. Thing about Natalie Portman, I would say is when I see Natalie Portman, I don't initially think like she looks so fucking nice. I'm like, she's pretty. She looks smart. Yeah, she's gonna get some shit done. That's the energy Madame Pompadour gives. That's the energy that I received from my ex when I met her. I literally told her, quite frankly, I was like, when I met you, I thought you were a bitch. I'm telling you this now in case someone else tells you. I was very wary of the fact that I shit talked a lot back then. And I was like, at least I'm not fucking own it. So for King Louis the 15th, they gave me a young Timothy Chalamet would have been great for him in the beginning of his brain when he was young, probably like around 15. And then they said, but a young Jude Law would be a good pick. Michael Fassbender would be a good pick. A younger Hugh Dancy would be a good pick. And like that gives you an idea. And here are some images that I asked AI to make of them. I said, make me the most photorealistic images that you can of what they would look like. I kept saying put them in modern clothes, but they kept not doing that. So it is what it is. So here's one. Here's another. Here's another. You know what? Oh, fuck time. But they all kind of have that same look, right? Like I know some are way hotter than others. Trust me, I'm like, damn, was I that hot? I'm hoping I'm that fucking hot, but like, which also kind of makes me sad. I'm like, am I the least hot version of myself throughout history? That has been something that I've been dealing with. Not really, but so what I would do is I would take all these and make a mental kind of like mean average of them all, and I think that's what you would get. But they kind of have, they all have thick hair. Have you noticed that? Thick, dark hair. They got their eyebrows, like I said, match like King Louis eyebrow. It's very eyebrow raising, I would say. And like you know, we talk about my eyebrow never going down. Look at these pictures of Desi Arnaz. That's where it started, you guys. It started fucking right here. It started right fucking here, and it never went down. It might have started earlier, but who knows? We don't have fucking portraits like real pictures of King Louis. We just know that his eyebrows were distinct. Now look at Madame Pompadour. Obviously, the hair keeps like fluctuating different colors because there are all these bitches wearing wigs and stuff. But do you see they kind of look? They're all capturing the same kind of vibe. I feel. So then, Midjourney now has a new feature. Take this picture of me and my ex. Make us reimagine us as Madame Pompadour and King Louis the 15th. And I gotta say, I think they did a really good job. Now look at these pictures. Obviously, it's not like a dead ass ringer because you know how jeans work and stuff. But I think the eyebrows, you all kind of have the same kind of brows, you know? There's a distinction. You see this like a lot more clearer with Lucille Ball, who has much more rounded eyebrows. And if you do face reading is the idea that the face and your personality manifest through your face as time. Taking this again with the law of manifestation, taking this again with the ideas of astrology, all of this makes sense and all of this connects because how you portray yourself and how you act and how you think are always going to be reflected back to you in the way you live. You notice that the women have like a much more curved overtone kind of eyebrow. Like Lucille Ball's is like purposely like structured that way. But like again, face reading says that when you change or alternate parts of your face, it manifests still in the way that you come through. And then my exes are actually very round. Mine have always been this kind of like furry mess of like they're strong and powerful, but they're also arched in a very specific way, you know, which you can actually see quite closely with Desi Arnaz's eyebrows. And then there are two different versions of King Louis's eyebrows coming out from these portraits, but I feel like they still have the same sort of look. But you let me know. I thought this was noteworthy, and I thought this was going to be such a funny named episode to say eyebrow raising. Hashtag eyebrow raising. So I literally made this episode because I am thinking of these things right now as I'm working, and because I thought of a funny title. A lot of times I have so much content that I could make you guys that I just don't remember. And I think this is the biggest fucking travesty of all this ADHD, but I'm trying. I'm getting organized and shit. If you know, just an FYI, I got into Notion and I put all my notes in Notion because this video means something to me. So I'm trying to put my ass into this shit, but we'll see. But I wanted to give you an update. I also thought it was interesting. And also, I made all these images on AI for the month. I only have Midjourney for this month. I'm not going to pay for it second month. So let us share our images because I think, tell me if it's just me. I kind of see something. But again, I've been looking at this for way too long. And this is the one thing I can't ask a guy because they're like, I cannot analyze the picture and see. I'm like, I thought you can. What are your capabilities? Really? Seriously. But I kind of get that these people still have hallmarks of each other. Notice that none of these men have like thin hair, like my thick ass fucking mane. We got some thick hair. But it was the eyebrows that really caught my attention more, which I think eyebrows in face reading are extremely important when you read the face because it gives you an overall kind of like idea of how the person wants to maneuver and walk through this life. Another thing that I'm catching on to is now that I'm reading about their personal histories and who they are is the way they go about things is true to this lifetime. Madame Pompadour, Lucille Ball, my ex, if the game is PR, those bitches know. They know how to move. They know how to operate. It's their fucking forte. They know how they come across and they know what plays well and what doesn't. King Louis, me, and Desi, we could do that. But we're a little bit more ruled by our emotions. Like, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm so fucking sad. King Louis is like, give me another woman. Give me another cart full of them. I need more women. And Desi Arnaz is like, I need more alcohol. Give me more alcohol. I can't deal with my feelings. And I'm like, give me more research so that I don't have to think about this. Let me just look at these signs and all the numbers that calculate. I didn't realize that my intense investigating sometimes could also be because I used to tell people I don't have any addiction problem. I'm a workaholic. Yeah, if anything, my addiction is to working. And there it is. I just changed the fucking thing. I mean, I didn't do much different. If it's booze and women, I said neither. Let's make it intellectual and pretend it's something good. And that's where we are. I just thought those are interesting, noteworthy observations on just kind of an initial check. Um, this video about their stories is, it needs to be the next one after the intro, but I'm working on it right now. These are my initial thoughts. Remember, this is a podcast, so I'm subject to changing my fucking mind because sue me, I'm a human that way, at least in this lifetime. But as again, always love talking to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And my name is YC, and these are my thoughts because I'm obscene that way. See you later.